Hello everyone, today we're going to check out the new progressive web app version of Baymail. So you can see when you load the website for the first time, you'll be redirected to onboarding, and it's going to ask you a bunch of questions which will hopefully get you set up and ready to use Baymail regardless of what your situation is. What you can do is actually install as a web app within Chrome Desktop these days as well, and that will allow you to run Baymail as a full screen app that looks like this. So the only benefit there is you can type in Baymail and it comes up as the first app that you use. So it's sort of native to your operating system. The first question is, do you have a Bitcoin SV wallet? And we can go through these questions in a tree. Essentially, what this is allowing you to do is get familiar with Bitcoin if you don't have any crypto or anything like that. So, it gets you to set up a MoneyButton account if you don't have one already. Or for people who don't have BSV but do have other crypto wallets, they can start by setting up a RelayX wallet because they have a lot of good features for onboarding people from other cryptocurrency spaces. But to show you the sort of what most of Baymail's users will be used to is already having a MoneyButton wallet and a RelayX wallet probably, or perhaps having a preference for one or the other. But most of us do have BSV already, so I'll work on that basis. All you need to do is make sure that you're signed into your MoneyButton account first of all, and then connect the app using Invisible MoneyButton. The default is $10, but you can change that to whatever amount you want. Now, for some people, like you just saw, it will automatically say that you're ready to go. On some browsers, you actually need to press the button one more time, and it will re-authenticate. That's just differences between different browsers and how they deal with promises resolving. So once you've done that, you are ready to go, and you'll see your sort of face or perhaps the default image pop up in the top right, and that's your user panel. Now, a lot of you will just have the one account. I have multiple already set up. Any Paymail that's under your MoneyButton account, you can just add here, press add, and it will add it to your list. So you can have multiple inboxes, and you can switch between them using these simple click functions. So one of the first things that people might want to do is also set up their RelayX wallet. And now with Baymail, you can actually have RelayX and MoneyButton in the same sort of UI without having to log out at all. So if you log out, all that really does is get rid of your decrypted data. But as soon as you go back to the main page, it will relog you back in very quickly. And that's just a convenience method so that when you leave Baymail and come back, you don't have to log in every time. It will keep that session alive for a month. So if you just have the one Paymail logged in there, what you can do is add any Paymail that you have associated with that account. So I can add D, for example, and I can add Dagan. But the cool thing is I can also add RelayX. And what it will do is automatic log in the background. This also works if you want to log in with RelayX wallet first, and then add Paymails which are associated with your MoneyButton account. So either way, you can add whichever Paymails you want from either of those two wallets, and it will log in the background automatically and allow you to switch between RelayX and MoneyButton within the user panel. So now your main one is the RelayX, but you can switch to all of these MoneyButton ones as well, but your RelayX one is still here, so you can switch back and forth. So right at the bottom here, if this is the troubleshooting section, if you're having any problems with the app whatsoever, the list down here will help you. So you can either submit a bug report, and that is basically a Google form. Please add your Paymail so I can get in touch with you with any response to once the bug's fixed, I'll send you a response there and pay you for your contribution. Otherwise, if it's something urgent and if the app itself is broken, obviously you're not going to get a response from me. Please feel free to go to chat support. So that's a Telegram chat group, which I will respond to pretty quickly. That's Baymail support. And if you want to just fix it yourself, if perhaps you're in a time zone where you're awake but I'm asleep, then just do a forced hard reset. That'll bring you back to onboarding and you can give it another go. So for a few of you, this ordering will be new. So you can actually order by time rather than value if you so desire. So for example, if you have just recently received something that's very low value, but it's unread, it'll be right at the top. And then you read it and you come back and it's gone. And you might want to switch to time mode and then the most recent message is at the top, kind of like a traditional email. A really cool new feature is when you're composing, if you start typing, it will give you a fuzzy search list of all of the people you have recently contacted. And if you can't remember at all, then it will give you the whole list of everyone you've ever contacted, top right here. But this is a good start usually, so it can sort of narrow things down to the most likely 5 things. If you're going to add from here, you can see that it automatically adds to CC in a format that's going to work. So you can add subjects. So think of subjects as a way to find certain things because that will not be encrypted. So it's encrypted to Baymail, but Baymail is able to read that part. So imagine Gmail is essentially able to read your entire message. Baymail is able to read just your subject line. And that's so that we can provide you with search capability on the database of your messages. So just be aware that when you put subject lines, it's reasonably private, but machines can read it. Whereas anything in the encrypted message box, not even machines can read. You're the only person who can read that. So the recent files and the drop file to attach dialogues are both working. So let's just attach a file very quickly just to show you what that's like. So this will encrypt the file and give you an estimate cost for uploading the whole file. Now this is supposedly unrestricted. What I mean by that is the actual UI doesn't restrict the size. So like I can attach massive files here. So theoretically, this UI is not going to stop me from encrypting massive files. The only thing that's restricting me is, well, firstly, my budget, but also the miners will reject certain transaction sizes. So the larger transactions have been getting rejected, even though there is no restriction on them from my side. Uploading it here will upload in chunks, and it will show you progress if it's a large enough file where that's appropriate. And then you'll immediately see that file show up in this recent files list. That shows actually everything you've ever uploaded you can add now. So it's not just recent files, it's just ordered by recency. And we can delete them just by clicking them here. But don't worry, if you accidentally click that, you can always reattach that file there. So one other thing that people have been missing is the ability to set the minimum threshold for people contacting you at all. So for example, here I have my boost minimum threshold set at 10 points and pay set at 1 cent. But if I got too many messages, then I could actually raise this to, well, whatever I want. Let's just say 14 cents. And then when somebody tries to contact me, so what I'll do is switch to one of my other accounts and essentially just try and contact myself at example. So example at MoneyButton.com, I think it was. So when we go to pay here, the minimum is set to 14. I can't reduce that any further. So that's how you force a minimum. So let's just turn that off so that we can, let's reduce that again. There we go. Okay, and we'll see the email notifications are set up here as well. And to change the ones which are not currently active, we just need to switch. So we could switch to Degan if we wanted to edit this one, and we could change the threshold to whatever we want, and that doesn't cost us anything extra. The latest feature on Baymail is a Crowdfund Features page, which lists features that you can put some money behind if you want to see them developed faster than the rest. It's a way for users to give me an honest signal about what features are really important to them, and a way to crowdfund the most popular feature requests. Now, in the spirit of complete honesty, I saw this features page on Dimely and then Twetch. I loved the idea, so I implemented it for Baymail and improved on the concept a little bit by allowing people to add their own feature suggestions. If none of these features are things that you want to see built on Baymail, what you can do is go to the bottom and add your own feature. So there's been some fantastic feedback from a lot of the people I've been speaking to in the BSV space, really enthusiastic about Baymail, and they have some good ideas about features they'd like to see added. But now's a chance to sort of explain the exact features that you want to see in Baymail. You can submit the feature request, and although you won't see it immediately, I just wanted to make sure I could control for spam. So what happens there is I'm immediately able to see the new features listed here. So here would your idea would show up for me on my list when I come to check it, and I can just approve it based on what I think it's worth, how difficult it will be to implement. I can just sort of adjust the goal amount and approve, and that will add it to the list. If we just wait just a second and go back to this page, there we go. So if there's something that's really critical and missing from Baymail, please add it to this list. Then people can contribute to your feature idea on Baymail. So Baymail on mobile, the onboarding process is much the same with one added step. So say you wanted to add this to your home screen to use it as a progressive web app. So this loading as a progressive web app means it's a full screen app. It'll bring you to the onboarding page that you'll be familiar with, and it will display a security warning and a way to sort of advice on how to stay secure, because what it's done is embedded MoneyButton as a website. And because I have LastPass enabled on this phone, it already knows that this is moneybutton.com. So it's fairly secure to then inject my password in on my behalf. And then you just scroll down further. You know what, sometimes I get stuck here. Just tap the top of the screen. It'll bring you back there, and then you can scroll past that little iframe and connect with MoneyButton there, with invisible MoneyButton working in the background from that point on. So sometimes you'll need to re-authenticate like that. iOS has very strange rules when it comes to its progressive web apps. So I needed to tap again there. Now it's ready to go. So with its progressive web apps, it will sometimes delete the local storage without warning, and with, as far as I can tell, with no real consistency. So if you're not using Baymail for a few days, you may need to log in again to use it as a full screen app. But I do think it's worth using as a full screen app for a couple of reasons. First being, it will keep the whole app loaded on your phone. So the actual loading of individual pages it's literally just loading your Baymail data. It's not loading any of the app components. It's not loading any of Baymail's code. That will all reside on your phone, stored locally. So it just means coming back to the app, if you leave it, is just so much faster. And it'll remember if you're reading a particular part, it'll remember where you were, and you can continue from where you left off. So let's take a look at one of the cool parts. I suppose one of the cool parts of this is going to be the fact that you can, add photos from your library. So let's just quickly upload that here in a couple of seconds. So to highlight what's cool about this, effectively you can take a file from your phone, encrypt it to somebody's Paymail, sending it to them with a payment, and they can decrypt that directly onto their phone. And it never sits anywhere decrypted on any other device than your phone and their phone. That's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification icon so you get notified when I release a new video. You can follow me on Twitter at BaymailMe. You can, of course, get in touch with me on Dimely, and you can follow me on Twedge at user315. If you have any support needs, please make sure to Baymail me, add your feature ideas to the features list, and join the Telegram chat if you have any urgent support needs. I'd be happy to help you there. Take care.